we are gonna get started here. And just so you guys know, if at any time, this is really about you guys, so at any time you have questions, we're gonna do a Q&A at the end, but you could also raise your hand and we could stop and answer your question if needed, okay? So I am Danny Morin. I'm a child safety advocate and I'm a content creator. I'm a child passenger safety technician, and I am very familiar with the showroom. This is like a second home. But I'm to chat with Julie over the past couple weeks because I too am in my postpartum journey. I had twins 6 weeks ago, and I'm in the thick of it. So I will be learning alongside you guys. Oh, my mic. Oh, I will be learning alongside. Is it okay? Okay. I'll be learning alongside you guys today as well. So I'm going to be putting in some of my own questions, but I think that we can all relate. So this is Julie. She's a postpartum doula. She's also a newborn care specialist. She's also, and I don't know if it's written on there, but a certified sleep consultant. She is a mother of 5, grandmother of 8. And as a postpartum doula, I would say she's a grandmother to probably thousands of babies. Now, one thing that's kind of fun that I learned about Julie over the past week is she's also a Disney doula, a Disney fanatic. And we are both pass holders, so hopefully we'll be seeing each other at the parks. I'll be somehow taking my 3 kids around, and she might need to help me out there. So now, Julie, you've been a wealth of knowledge for me personally over the past couple weeks. I had no idea what I knew and what I didn't know, and I really appreciate you being part of my journey.
Thanks. It's been nice to get to know you as well. I love everything about babies, obviously. So I'm really happy to be here and have this conversation.
I'm excited. So one thing is that, and I kick myself every time, we spend so much time preparing for the birth. We are doing all the breathing exercises. We are taking the classes on birth. We spend so much time and put such an emphasis on the birth that sometimes we overlook our postpartum plans. And we come home and we're anxious, we're not prepared for that 4th trimester. So for those of you guys who do not know what the 4th trimester is, can you explain to us what the 4th trimester even means?
Yes. So the 4th trimester is the 12 weeks postpartum, the first 12 weeks after you have the baby. So as your pregnancy was divided up into the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd trimester leading up to the birth, so right after the birth, perfect car seat, they had everything planned, but the reality of coming home with a baby can have a few challenges. So it's good to be prepared the best we can. You could have your own birth experience, you could have a surrogate, foster care, adopting a baby, and you could choose to be a single parent. So I'm here to support all of that, no matter how your family journey happens.
I love that you mentioned that. This is my first time not being a single mom. And so when we talk about our partners and their goals, it's my partner's first time supporting me in this journey too. And so those conversations are going to come up about how our partners can also help us. So I wanted to, this was your idea, do a little something. She had asked me a question and I thought it would be great to ask the audience, but she said, what's one word that you would describe your newborn season, life with a newborn?
When you think of life with a newborn, what's the one word that comes to mind?
Now I'll tell you what I told her, the Matrix, okay? But I want to hear what you guys have to say. So does anyone want to raise their hand? Go ahead. Insomnia. She has one already. Anybody else? What do you think?
I would say I love it. It's beautiful, but it's just crazy.
Crazy.
It's pretty crazy.
And I would, if I were to go back having my first, I would have thought the word would be blissful, peaceful, In many times and instances, it really was. But in other times, which we'll get into the witching hour of it all, it wasn't. So, okay, now in your guys' bags, you have, or no, when you came in, you were given a handout on page 2. It's a newborn care essentials page. We're going to be going over some of this. So if you guys have questions you want to jot down on that newborn care essentials page, you can and kind of follow along. So think in your mind like, oh, when they're talking about feeding, I did have a question about that. Jot it down, raise your hand, we'll go over it, okay? So in that newborn essentials care guide, Julie's going to cover feeding, sleep, physical care, and bonding, okay? Now, feeding. One of my biggest worries, and it is with every single child, it's as if I forget. I have, you have momnesia. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that. And it's why you continue to have more babies. You forget about the first one, and so you continue to have more babies after those experiences. But every time I stress so much about when to feed my baby, how much to feed my baby, how do I know if they've gotten enough, when do I change the amount of ounces, what happens if I breastfeed and then go to formula, is it the same amount? What is the suggestions? What are the experts saying? What do you have to say about it?
Okay, so there's a few variables here, but in general, your newborn is going to eat every 2 to 3 hours around the clock. And that is either breast milk or formula. That's just what they need to do to grow.
Okay.
So you're going to feed them around the clock every 2 to 3 hours. And typically, once babies reach back to their birth weight, or over 8 pounds or so, they can start having small stretches where they could start going a little bit longer. Of course, you want to clear this with your pediatrician when you do a well baby visit. But it's at that point that you can start maybe going a little bit longer for one feeding. So.
Okay. And when it comes to gaining back the birth weight, I was always set on it has to be at 2 weeks or before, but I guess it also depends on when your babies are born. If you are having twins and there's different variables. So don't be super stressed about that. I was super stressed about that.
Right. There's always a curve with everything. For a baby's growth and development, there's a range, and you could fall anywhere within that wide range. And as long as your doctor thinks everything's fine, don't stress about it. If your babies are eating on a regular basis, they're having their wet diapers appropriately,
Okay.
there's nothing to worry about.
I love this. See, I'm already feeling at ease. When we're talking about feeding, and we are here with Momcozy, and they have some of the most premium items. I own probably half of the things in here, so I can speak to it. One of the things that I own is this breastfeeding pillow, and I want to talk a little bit about why it is different from others. So the breastfeeding pillow standards have recently changed, and Momcozy was one of the first to get out the new breastfeeding pillow to the new standards. So they're a little bit more firmer. However, you'll feel that this is gives that Tempur-Pedic feel. So it kind of is comfortable for your baby's head, ergonomic. But it also has this safety guide in the back. So with some of the other breastfeeding pillows, I've always been scared of babies falling off of the breastfeeding pillow. This has that safety guide right there, which I really like. And it also has this comfort pad in the back as well, and I don't know if I brought it, as well as your arm. So if you are holding baby, they have an extra. They're just making sure moms are comfortable, babies are comfortable, alike. And I think that's important. So before you guys head out today, check out this breastfeeding pillow as something that you guys might want for your journey. Okay. So now we're going to talk about sleep and soothing. So the craziest thing is that when babies are born, the first 2 weeks, and for those of you guys that have babies, you can attest to this, the first 2 weeks, they're feeding, you change them, they take a nap, and then they wake up, you feed, change. There's not really a lot of wake windows happening. They are sleeping most of the day, which is great because you're also going to be very tired. Suddenly, around 3 to 4 weeks, I don't know what happens, but we're suddenly introduced to something called the witching hour. And babies are fussy. You don't know if they're hungry or feeding them. You don't know when to soothe them. You don't know how to soothe them. And it seems like it comes on overnight around like 3-4 weeks for me, I would say. Is the witching hour, is that a real thing? Is it a hoax? Is that a real thing? And when we're going through it, for me, it's like 5 to 7. What's the best way to soothe our babies?
Okay, so witching hour is not a medical term, but it is a phenomenon that does happen with a lot of babies, not all babies. So it normally happens closer to 2 weeks, but your babies were early. So it happening closer to 4 to 6 weeks is spot on because they were early babies. So babies are very tired. Being born is a big journey. It's exhausting. So they're tired at first. Usually when you come home from the hospital, around day 3, you'll notice your baby being awake a little bit more.
Okay.
Then by 2 weeks old, they're really starting to wake up. And they're realizing, I don't like being cold. I don't like these bright lights. There's so many things different for them that they've never fallen into a pattern. It often correlates with their birth time, interestingly.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
What time of day were your babies born?
They were born at, oh my God, 2:40 and 2:44.
Okay, so just before 3 p.m. in your witching hour. Is it with both or just one?
Both.
Okay.
One is, she's more dramatic than the other.
That always happens.
Okay.
Okay, so there's the basic techniques to soothe a baby, and we'll kind of review that in just a minute.
Okay.
There's the 5 S's,
Yes.
which is a well-established, just little thing to keep in mind of little things we could do to help soothe our baby. But specifically towards a witching hour, what I have found helpful is we try to get ahead of it. So if you know come 5 o'clock that baby's going to start giving you trouble, so 4:30, 4:45, we start to intervene. Maybe put them in a carrier. There's some amazing options of carriers that a baby as small as 7 pounds, I believe, can go in.
Yes.
So maybe put your baby in a carrier before they get themselves worked up. Make sure they're fed, they're changed. Have them close to your body so they can feel the comfort of having the warmth of your skin,
Okay.
your heartbeat, your breathing, to help them be calm. Maybe offer them something to suck if you use a pacifier. So I suggest getting ahead of the crying.
Okay. And when it comes to baby carriers, when you're here, some of you guys have your partners with you. Fit yourself, their carriers are over here. Fit yourself for a carrier and your partner, grandma, whoever else is going to be spending time with the baby. My husband, we're trying to soothe the babies like you suggested, and his body isn't like mine. So I wish we had 2 separate carriers for him to help out during the witching hour.
Yeah, your bodies are different shaped. So oftentimes my parents who really prefer baby wearing, they do have a his and hers.
Yeah, and he did get a carrier, and it's a lot different than, I like these cloth hybrid-like carriers that they have over here. He likes a more structured carrier. So definitely, while you guys are here in the showroom, check them out. The Momcozy ones are over here in the back. Now, will you go over the 5 S's? Because you taught me this, and it has helped during the witching hour.
Okay, I will. I'm going to set my mic down.
Okay.
Okay.
And I will
So I have a fun little name game we could do. I'm borrowing a baby, but there's something I was taught many years ago. So to come up with a perfect baby name, you take your partner's first 3 letters of their name and your last 3 letters. So my husband's name is Mark, M-A-R. I'm Julie, so L-I-E. So M-A-R-L-I-E. My baby's name is Marley.
And we did mine. So my husband's name is Jeremy, and I go by Danny, but my full name is Danielle. So if it's a guy, it was Gerald. But if it's a girl, it's Jarell.
Yes.
So that's my baby's name.
Does anyone have a fun one that yours came up with if you put yours together? No? Okay.
What about you guys? You guys are talking about it back there. What is your first name?
I'm Jonathan, and she's Jennifer.
So Jon Fer. Jonfer. It's literally Jennifer.
So, if you guys were stuck coming up with a perfect name, you're welcome. Okay, so the 5 S's. The first thing we want to do we're going to use little Marley here, is we're going to swaddle. The babies really have that moral reflex, that startle reflex, and once it starts going and they're upset, they just can't contain themselves. So we want to do a nice swaddle. Right now we're using this one, the Momcozy muslin swaddle. They also have a shaped one that I just didn't have my hands on today. So first thing we want to do is swaddle the baby, and oftentimes that will calm them down. We want to start with one thing at a time and work up as we need to. So usually the swaddling will help, and if that doesn't, we do a sway. So we kind of rock them a little bit. We want to offer them to suck. We can offer a pacifier. If you have a clean hand, you can offer your pinky finger. And then if that's not working, we also want to turn them to either their side or their stomach. So I prefer to hold to the side. I get the baby in a side position. We're doing all the things, the sucking. Then the last one is the shushing. So we start the shushing, the shh, 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 shh. The thing is, when a baby is crying, hopefully they're stopping crying because they have the pacifier or the finger in their mouth. But when we shush a baby, the shush needs to be louder than the cry. We're not yelling it in our baby's ear, but if they can't hear it, it does no good. So if we're holding them close and we're comforting them, we can get closer to their ear with a gentle shh, 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 until they calm.
Do you think mom shushing is better than the shushing machine?
So when the shusher first came out, I thought, oh, I'm going to be out of a job. The shusher is a great device, but typically I find that being used more when your baby is sleeping a little more independently. So if they're in their bassinet or their crib, you can turn on the shusher when they start to fuss to see if they settle down with just that, and maybe your hand on their tummy. There's some things you can do, and then kind of turn the sound down and wean it off. But when I'm holding a baby, unless it's the witching hour and my mouth is too dry to continue,
Yeah.
I like to do it myself because
Okay.
I can just adjust the tone easily with the baby.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, that was one thing I was doing wrong, was the shushing needed to be louder than the baby. And I was like, wait, that's really loud if I got a screaming baby, but it does work.
Temporarily. When they quiet, you quiet too. You just feed off what your baby's doing.
I love it. Now, we're going to talk about physical care and baby bath time. There's a lot of mixed messages now around when to bathe your baby, how often, and how to bathe your baby. I ended up just having them in the hospital wash the hair, and then I waited a couple days to rinse off the rest of their body. But what are your suggestions? I don't even know if that's like the right thing.
That's completely a personal decision when it comes to the first bath in the hospital. Some parents like to wait and let the vernix stay in the body as long as they can. It has a different kind of bacteria, especially with vaginal birth. Hospital standard would like to give the babies a bath, so when as a postpartum doula, I'm not here to make decisions for you. I'm here to provide you with evidence. Decision and C, D, E, plan A doesn't go. I just want to come from a place of no judgment. So there are a lot of things that are some form. But once your baby's home, you want to keep your baby fresh. Now, water after their umbilical stump has fallen off and dried out. So that could be anywhere from 1 to 5 weeks. The standard is around 2
Wow.
weeks. I only
Okay.
had one baby that I hung on by a thread for 5 weeks.
Wow.
So once
Okay.
it falls off, it usually takes a few days for it to completely dry out. So you do not want to get it wet before then. So in the meantime, when I do a sponge bath type of thing, your babies really aren't getting dirty. I mean, they're not going anywhere or doing anything. But you find in their little crevices, behind their ears, in their necks, their cheeks, I like to use a dry washcloth, the dry wipe,
Okay.
or the cotton pads and some micellar water.
Okay.
And just do a little touch-up at least once a day for those little spots. We also want to clean out their hands. Inevitably, babies get lint in their hands. I have no idea where it comes from.
That is so true.
The tiniest of babies will have a little palm, and their hands are like this all the time. So you
Yes.
gently want to open them up and kind of wipe them out
Okay.
because they do put their hands to their mouth, but they're full of lint.
That
And
is
their toes.
So true. I'm thinking about my own babies right now. So true. Where does it come from?
But once the stump comes off and it's dry, then your baby's ready for a real bath, a submerged bath. And I do what I call a swaddle bath. I use a muslin cloth like this. I very loosely wrap the baby. I create a whole spa environment. This is one of my favorite things to do. We have dim lights. We make sure the room is relatively warm with no drafts. We have the bath at the perfect temperature. I put the towels in the dryer. I have a pacifier available, and we gently put the baby in the warm water while the baby is loosely wrapped. And then we open up just one section at a time, doing each quadrant of bathing the baby, keeping the temperature warm. When they're ready to come out of the water, we have that warm baby towel, and we have one here.
These are the towels that I've been using is the Momcozy. I believe they come in a pack of 2 also, maybe just one. But I've been using these towels for baby's bath. It does have the little baby hood on it too, and the swaddle baths. But like, can you swaddle bathe me at this point? Because this sounds amazing. Like, postpartum me would love a swaddle bath.
It sounds pretty good, huh? So then we dry the baby off and get them dressed. Now, babies, like I said, aren't getting dirty. There may be the occasional blowout where you may need to give an extra bath or even just an extra booty bath when that happens. But I recommend personally, unless something extraordinary happens, once or twice a week at the beginning to give your babies a bath. Once they get older and they're past the first 12 weeks, if you're a parent who wants more of a structure scheduled type thing,
Okay.
oftentimes daily baths are incorporated into a bedtime routine.
Makes sense.
But that happens a little bit more after the fourth
Okay.
trimester.
So two times a week is normal.
Absolutely
Okay.
sufficient.
Because sometimes I feel like a bad mom. Like, should I be doing this every single day? But it is a whole ceremony, as she's describing it.
It doesn't have to be. But
No,
that's-
I prefer that. I
And all the
actually like
babies
that
love
for
it.
them. And they do sleep better, I feel like, on bath days. Like,
Yeah.
they're very more relaxed. So I do agree with you there. So now we're going to talk about bonding. We're going to also incorporate our partners in this conversation. What does it mean to bond with our babies? I hear so much about the importance of skin to skin, but I got to be honest, for the longest time, I didn't really know. I obviously skin to skin, it makes sense. I know what it is, but I didn't know the purpose of it. This time around, I have a partner, and I really wanted him involved in skin to skin, and I didn't know how to prepare him for that or some things that he could do. Can you explain that to us?
Yes. So bonding with your baby is just forming that intimate connection with them. And that can be done in many ways. Having eye contact with them. Babies can see about 12 inches. It's blurry, but they can. So when you're feeding the baby, having that eye-to-eye contact with them, looking at them, touching your baby, talking to your baby, all of those things are a form of bonding. Skin to skin is really recommended. It does a lot of things. It helps regulate the baby's temperature, their heart rate, their breathing, and it produces the oxytocin, so that good hormone in both of you.
Oh, okay.
So that can be done by either parent, by any trusted caregiver. I've worked with quads, and I did a lot of skin to skin with the
Quads?
quadruplets. Yes. Only
I couldn't
once-
imagine as a twin
Only once
mom.
I've worked with quadruplets, and I did a lot. I had 2 babies assigned to me, and we did a lot of skin to skin just to help them with their development.
I love
So
that.
there's a lot of ways to do it. In the hospital, like moms, we just put our babies right on our chest. That happens frequently, but dads can do it too. Using a baby carrier is great, and it could just be the top part of your chest. You don't have to be fully
Okay.
exposed. But if you're breastfeeding or reclining in bed, you absolutely can be. I also find it really easy to...
Here, I'll hold your microphone.
Oh, thank you. Let me use the swaddle. This is one of my favorite ways when I'm just holding a baby. So my upper chest would be exposed, and I use a muslin swaddle like this. Just kind of hold the baby on my chest, put the arms down, and I tuck this under my arms. And
So
relax.
easy.
So the baby's safe, breathing. The baby's not going to slide anywhere, and I can relax.
And this is great for dad or our
Dads.
partners, grandma. She's over there helping.
Yes, it's
But
just
this
a-
is just, it's so easy and simple,
And
but that
easier
is
for
a form
skin to
of skin to skin.
Yes, and it promotes bonding.
I love that. Now, the next topic may be the most important, planning for postpartum. So like we mentioned earlier, we plan for the birth, okay? Raise your hand if you did extensive planning for your birth. Did we extensively plan for our postpartum experience? I didn't. Not any of the times I didn't. I figured I'll figure that out when we get there. So this is so important, and there are three main things I think you're going to cover, which is rest, nutrition, and healing for the new mom. So, back to the dads. I feel like the dads, our partners, they really, really want to help us. They just don't know what we need, and we may not even know what we need. So, I find it best to prepare ahead of time. You had given some great tips. Dads are really list guy. Are you a list guy? You're great with list. If she said no. Some dads are great with lists, but I think preparing them of like, this is how you can help me. And you brought up a good point. Will you talk about finding our partners where they thrive?
Yes. So it is true that oftentimes your partners want to help, they have no idea what to do. When you're in the thick of it and not feeling your best and overtired, you don't know what you want either. So if you have the opportunity to talk about it ahead of time or in a moment when you both are a little bit rested and have some clarity, kind of find out what things they excel in, what areas. Are they a good cook? Can they prepare a meal for you? If not, could they just make you a snack, bring you something to drink, especially if you're breastfeeding?
Water every time. If you
Right.
see me sit down with my Momcozy breastfeeding pillow, bring the water.
Yes, we'll talk about that a little bit more with the stations.
Yes,
But
yes.
definitely, every time, if you're breastfeeding, every time you sit down to nurse your baby, you should be drinking hydrating water.
Yes. A margarita. No.
Yeah. And having a snack if you want. You should also be getting some nutrition in. So if your partner can help you with that at least, if they're good with cooking a meal, like I said, because that's the last thing you want to worry about. But we're going to
Or washing bottles too, which we'll get into. But my husband has become a professional breast pump washer.
Yes.
And it's been great.
Right, and I know the Momcozy, so many of us doulas love this device where it washes, dries, and sterilizes all in one. So it's easy for him to do most guys like mechanical.
And so do I.
Find out what they're good at. Do they just want to keep you company in the middle of the night feeding? Are they your shoulders, give you a little foot massage, just keep you company so you don't fall asleep while you're nursing? If you're not breastfeeding, could they take over one of the feeds? Could they do a feeding while you sleep in? If you're done with the feeding, can they take the baby and let you have a chance to have a nap or do the diapering and the burping? So
And
just
that
to
takes
pitch
up
in.
so much time also. So I realize it's like, 20, 25 minutes to nurse a baby or even bottle feed a baby if you're using formula, right? It's about
It is.
that similar time. But then you have to burp them if they have or something, you got to hold them up a little bit longer. I'm talking about breastfeeding right now and my milk is coming in. So this is fun.
Oxytocin.
Yeah. But what I have found is it takes up so much time. So having a partner do the other 25 minutes, which is the changing, the burping, the holding baby up for a little bit, re-swaddling, the putting down, you get 25 more minutes. And put that in increments. It's really like another hour and a half throughout the night that you get to sleep.
Right, and also some household things that maybe you notice more when you can't get to it. So you'll notice that pile of laundry that hasn't been folded and put away yet, and you don't have the time or energy to get to it. Maybe that's something that the partner can do to help out too. Little household tasks that you don't have to worry about.
I love that. Now we're going to talk about meals. This is probably in postpartum the most difficult thing to figure out, especially if you have other kids. But it's the hardest thing to figure out for me prior to the baby even coming when I was tired and pregnant. So what do I eat? How do we plan for meals? And when the babies got here, it became even harder. What are some suggestions when it comes to nutrition to stay hydrated, eating the foods that we should eat to feed our babies? What are your suggestions?
So I'll start with mealtime. So for meals, if you have the energy and are up to it ahead of time, you could plan by doing some freezer meals that after your baby comes, you could just pop in the oven, have an assortment. If you have a community through a church or close friends and family, if they want to provide meals, that's great. If not, you can have a meal service where prepared meals are delivered either warm on a daily basis or a couple times a week where you just warm them yourselves. You said you had found one that I hadn't heard of before.
I found one, and I'll have to get the name, but it's a crock pot meal delivery service. So 3 times a week we do they mail it to you, and then we just put it in the crock pot in the morning, and everything's done for us. So it's like one of those home chef things, but it's already done. So you throw in the noodles 30 minutes before it's done, and everything's good to go. I've been loving it.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I have to look up that information just to learn more about it. But the other thing is a meal train.
The meal train,
And
yes.
I find a lot of families do enjoy that. There's an app for it even. So people who don't even live close, they can sign up. It's connected with local meal delivery services like Uber Eats or DoorDash. So they can pick for you, or they can allow you to go in and pick what you want. You could put your preferences, what you like, don't like, what you're allergic to. You can leave instructions for it to be delivered to your home at a certain time, or if people are dropping off meals that they wanted to prepare for you, you can arrange to have it left at a certain time, like have a cooler outside or a table, so you don't get disturbed.
And that was my biggest thing, and I love that about Meal Train, is I was worried about people wanting to come and see the babies, like, hey, we brought you a gift. Our gift back is that we see the babies. So, or it's just like you're walking around with no top for the first couple weeks. Like you don't want to be seeing other people. You could filter that in the Meal Train. You could put your preferences, like, hey, we're not allowing visitors right now, but thank you so much for the meal.
And there's cute little signs you could print out to put on your door as well.
Such a good idea, yes.
Yeah. And for other nutrition throughout the day, have things you enjoy. I'm going to talk about having a station when you're feeding your baby. Have some ready-to-go snacks, some trail mix, some protein bars, things that you like. If somebody wants to help out, ask them if you're comfortable. They could prepare a few things to have in the fridge, some parfaits, some overnight oats, cut up veggies with hummus or guac. Just simple things you can have to snack on with one hand while you're caring for your baby. That's just grab and go that you don't have to think about.
The overnight oats has been really fun because you can mix different things in there, throw different fruits in there. This week I did pumpkin spice overnight oats because, I'm not going to Starbucks, so this is the closest I could get. Great. They're really good. I make like 6 to 9 at a time, and it's so easy. You mentioned building stations, and this is so, so, so important. I think as moms, we come up with the best nursery. We have our cribs in there. We have our changing station in there. The baby's clothes are in the closet. And during the day, they hang out with us in the living room. And nothing is really ever done in the nursery. So we have to come up. It's so funny. But we have our nurseries done, right? Well before the babies come. But we actually have to come up with little nursery stations throughout the house. And you're going to give us some examples so we could prepare for that.
Yes, I'm a huge fan of stations. It makes life easier. To start with, thinking of mom. So postpartum, you want to have your station of your supplies in your restroom that you're using mainly. So you're going to have your sanitary pads, disposable underwear, your peri bottle, Tux pads, all of the things. I know Momcozy has a great kit with those essentials. You want to have a stockpile of those things because there's nothing worse than being postpartum, making it to the bathroom, and not having what you need right there. So I definitely think moms need to have their little personal care kit right there in the bathroom, stocked up, ready to go. So after that, when you have your baby, like you said, you don't always spend all your time in the nursery. So you want to have a changing station with the essentials, your wipe warmer, your baby wipes, maybe some disposable changing pads, diapers, an extra outfit because blowouts happen.
They do happen.
So you want to have that if you're keeping the babies in your room with you. You want one in your room. Wherever you hang out the most, if you're going to be hanging out in the family room or living room, you want a little station there as well. If your house is expansive, you would definitely want a station for the babies changing on each floor, or if it's a large house, at each end of the house. So the other one is for feeding. When you're going to sit down to feed your baby, whether you're bottle feeding, breastfeeding, it doesn't matter. You want to be comfortable. Have your nursing pillow. Have extra pillows to prop up. It doesn't matter how strong you are. When you're holding a newborn, I've worked with professional athletes. They complain about aches in their arm and shoulder they've never had before from this tiny baby, but it's true. We're using different muscles. So have your area set up so you could be comfortable. The more relaxed you are, the more relaxed your baby's going to be. Have your phone charger, your remote control if you're going to watch TV. Have your snacks that are prepackaged that aren't going to spoil, or even some fresh fruit. Your water jug. Just have everything you need at that feeding station. If you're feeding in bed overnight, have it there. If you're going to be in your family room or living room during the day, have one there. The other one is in your kitchen, where you're going to be washing your bottles, preparing bottles, breast pumps, all of the parts, your formula. Have a station, a designated portion of a counter and a cupboard where you can have everything in one place. Your bags for your breast milk, your Sharpie, just have everything in one zone so you're not going back and forth and wasting time.
It's so helpful. And I have one of those 3-tiered rolling carts that I have like, so let me talk about the nasal aspirator. Bye, Richard. Let me talk about the nasal aspirator. So I just had my babies and I had no idea that those little noses are gonna get so much mucus in them so early on. So I did panic, go to the pediatrician and say, my baby is congested and now no longer breastfeeding. What do you suggest that I do? They said even a tiny, tiny little booger, a hard booger or something, can cause them to miss an entire ounce of a feeding. So I panic ordered this nasal aspirator and I started using this immediately. When I tell you, it sucks out so many boogers. And also in the middle of the night, I just have a little night light. You are going to use this before every feeding, so I would make sure you have one of these. But I have one of those in my, I have the snacks, I have the breast pumps, I have the diapers, I have the swaddles, I have extra clothes, and I roll it from the living room to the bedroom. Also in there, I have the nail file. So that's also there. If baby's falling asleep after a feed, it's the perfect time to pull out that Momcozy nail file and just file it down when they're sleeping.
Yeah.
So
Their hands are relaxed. They finally open them up. You could get the lint out and file their nails.
yes, so I find that this is the elite baby kit. Just get this, add it to your registry, add to registry. So the stations are so important. But of course, get your nursery done if that's important to you too. Now, rest and self-care. So us as moms, we feel like we have to do it all. And we have to be the ones to clean the parts, pump, feed the babies, do the diapers. If we have other kids, we have to deal with that. We are the ones that have to put them in their car seats before we go out. We're doing everything. And all of these things take up so much time, as we've discussed in some of the other topics. So what are your suggestions in finding time for some self-love, rest, and self-care? Like, I'm looking at my nails right now and I'm like, will there ever be a day that I could go to the nail salon? Not this week and maybe not next week, but will there ever be a day? So what are some things at home we could do for some self-love and care?
Well, it's always recommended to try to rest when the baby rests. And I know in practical terms that's hard to do because you're thinking of the 100 other things you haven't been able to do yet. But honestly, those things can wait. The dishes in the sink, they can wait. Somebody else can do them later.
Somebody else can do
Somebody
them
else can do
later.
them. Yeah.
Yes.
Delegate. People want to help and accept the help. Maybe think ahead of time. What are some things we might want help with, and who would we trust to do this? So have in mind if best friend Susie wants to come over and you're not ready to have somebody else hold the baby, but best friend Susie can come and make you some overnight oats and do a batch of dishes to help out, fold a load of laundry. So delegate things that you're comfortable with that aren't priorities. You and your baby, your family, the humans are the priorities. So you want to focus on that first. Other things can wait.
I know. I think where people say, hey, let us know if how we could help you. Like, and I do think people genuinely want to help you. So have things like, hey, if you want to come over, I have laundry that could be folded. If you do want to come over, I have the overnight oats. So I totally agree. Take advantage of your family. You don't have to do it all.
Right. And if they do want to come and you're comfortable, they want to hold the baby after you fed them while you take a nap or take a long shower, And while you're in the shower, they can change your sheets. There's nothing like fresh sheets.
Oh.
So those are some other things.
And this is why we hire a postpartum doula also.
All these things I'm suggesting is exactly what I do.
Yes,
So.
that's why I said, I'm like, or you can, she will be your gal. Now, building a support system. So we kind of just touched on that, but we often think of our pediatricians and our OBGYNs that they're our go-to, and for some of us ChatGPT, but we don't want to do that. So instead of using ChatGPT, besides our pediatricians and our OBGYNs, what are some other support systems that we can have as part of our white picket fence, so to speak?
Right. So each family will have their own village, and that'll be your family or friends. So you'll have that to start with. But there is professional help available outside of your OBGYN and your pediatrician. I mean, of course, I think a postpartum doula is amazing. But there's also a lactation consultant, and oftentimes that's the most popular service that is covered by health insurance.
Yes.
So a lactation consultant, if you're choosing to pump or breastfeed, is really important to have. There's also services like postpartum doulas, newborn care specialists that you can have to come into your home to help provide this practical support. We also have the professional car seat installers who can help you make sure that the car seat you've chosen is safe. Other thing I recommend is to make sure you do a run through with your things beforehand. I've had a client, I usually meet my clients the day they come home from the hospital. They got home 10 minutes before I got there. They couldn't get the car seat off the base, so they took the whole thing in the house, and the dad couldn't open it, so he was ready to cut the straps to get the baby out when I walked in. So do a run through with your products. Put your car seat in and out of your car. Do the latches open and closed a few times. Same with your stroller. That way, when you're tired and nervous, you know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's so important. I'm a child passenger safety technician, and you guys are over here in the LA area, so there are a ton available. In fact, I believe up a little showroom around here, and there's CPSTs. Baby, they also have CPSTs here. So chance to leave the hospital safely. So I highly recommend doing that. You mentioned the insurance covering the lactation consultants. They also cover other resources like nutrition for breastfeeding moms. I just did a class that my insurance covered. So call your insurance too. Also get nutrition, this and that. And so talk to your insurance as well.
And also, birth doulas and postpartum doulas are starting to be covered a lot more.
Really?
Under Carrot and Magellan. It's more like
Okay.
a reimbursement program similar to your FSA.
And that would be like sending in a super bill or something?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's
I would
starting
totally
to be
take
covered.
advantage of that.
That's new in the past 2 years. So that's starting because the help is so important. So other things that you can have help with is housekeeping services. So you don't have to worry about that. That's
Sign me up.
Great gift to give somebody as a house cleaning service if they don't have one. And also, like we said, your meal prep. You can have a chef to come in and cook in your home, or find a meal delivery service.
I love that. Okay. Q&A. Does anyone have any questions? Yes.
What are some signs of hunger and fullness?
Oh, hunger and fullness, did you say? Okay.
Such a good question.
Yes, we want to learn to read our baby's cues. So there's early cues when your baby is hungry. They're going to start rooting around a little bit, moving their mouth, maybe putting their hands to their mouth, waking up and being more squirmy. Then when they start actively rooting, like their mouth is full open and they're turning to the side, really moving their head a lot, that's active hunger signs. And moving around a little bit more. Once the baby's crying, that's a late hunger cue. So those are the things you want to look for. And you're going to be paying attention to the time. Has it been 2 or more hours? and they start to show those signs, if you feed your baby at the beginning of those signs, you have less chance of the baby getting really worked up, because then you have to calm the baby down. And when your baby's full, they'll stop eating. Oftentimes they get drowsy, and if you're bottle feeding and they haven't finished the normal amount that they feed, or if you're breastfeeding, they haven't done a full feed, you kind of want to wake them up a little bit. Burp them, move them around, loosen some clothing, tickle their feet or their cheek to kind of encourage them to finish and have a full feed. That way they can go the full 2 to 3 hours in between.
That's such a good question. That's a question I asked her the other day. Anybody else have questions? Okay. Oh, go. Feel free. You'll spark more questions. I know you will.
What are some signs of good weight gain in a newborn besides, going to your pediatrician and, putting her on the scale?
Okay.
You are hot with the questions.
So to know the weight is only by weighing them, and you could weigh them at home, but normally you just want to check their diapers. If your baby is having an adequate number of wet diapers a day, there's not a need to worry. So in the first week, it's 1 wet diaper a day per day. So day 1, they'll have 1 wet diaper in 24 hours. Day 2, 2 wet diapers in 24 hours, and so on. And then once they're a week old, about 6 wet diapers a day is absolutely normal. If you're having less than that in a 24-hour period, you might want to check their feeding, take them in for a visit.
I did recently find out that breastfed babies can go days without a poop after a certain time, and I did end up in the doctor asking that question.
Yeah, it's totally normal for babies to go to poop after every feed to pooping every 3 days. There's such a range of normal, and it can fluctuate as your baby grows and develops. That poop questions are because there's variance there. But it's completely normal for the poop to be every feed or every 3 days. If your baby's showing signs of discomfort, if they're extra gassy, they're drawing their lower legs up and super fussy, and they haven't pooped in a couple of days, then you might want to have that checked out.
Okay.
To help babies release gas, we want U shape. You just massage the tummy, the eye, and that goes the system of
To the left.
tummy massage. You can do froggy legs, bicycle legs, and tummy time. Tummy time, even tummy time when they're a few weeks old, just a minute or 2 at a time can help them move their body in a different way and release some gas.
And does tummy time mean baby's tummy on the floor necessarily, or are there other versions of tummy time if baby just cannot stand the floor?
Yeah, a lot of babies do not like being on the floor or on a mat because it's so different than what they're naturally used to doing, which is that newborn C curl.
Okay.
So the way I was showing you to do skin to skin,
That counts as tummy time?
This counts as tummy
Oh.
time. So I'm reclining back, holding the baby.
Okay.
Their neck is moving in a different direction. So this counts as tummy time. In the early weeks, at some point they do need to be on the floor. But for
Okay.
newborns, yeah, that counts as tummy time.
I have one that loves the floor, and I have one that cannot stand it. She also thinks she's the only child. So, do we have any other questions? Sure.
We were kind of debating a doula as well. What other doula companies, I mean, we'd love to work with you, obviously, but any other doula companies that you would suggest in the area?
There are a lot of doula options, and there's a lot in the LA area. You can go through an agency that will help you narrow one down for your specific needs. I also suggest, if you're looking for one, to talk to friends and family to see if they have personal recommendations. I know I stay busy from word of mouth. I get booked out way in advance because of word of mouth. So talk to people who have used one and listen to their experiences. I would always check references to see a family's experience with that doula. And you also want to find out what they specialize in and what your goals are, that it aligns. We have some of us who are very sleep focused and schedule based, others who are more attachment parenting, baby led kind of style. So you want to make sure who you hire aligns with how you want to raise your baby, the kind of care that you want to have.
That is great advice. And do you focus on schedule or baby led?
I do it all.
And she also
Like I said-
focuses on multiples, if anyone is.
Like I said, I am a postpartum doula and a newborn specialist and an infant sleep coach. I travel. I'm a travel doula. I do a lot of different things. So depending on the needs of a client, I'm able to kind of adjust my hat to be able to offer them the support that they want. Like I had mentioned before, at the end of the day, it's not my home, it's not my baby. My goal is to work myself out of a job. So we want to find what works for you and your family that's sustainable. So if you, for example, are going back to work early and your baby's going to have to go to daycare, you need your baby to be on a schedule and routine, that's going to be our goal. If you want a more relaxed style, you're not worried about them sleeping through the night at an early point, we're going to follow that lead. So there's things that we could do, always gently. I'm never one to let a baby cry. Another important thing to know about newborns is they don't have the ability to self-soothe. They don't have the ability to self-soothe until after 12 weeks. So we need to help them. When they get worked up, they just don't have the ability to calm down. So it's our job to help them regulate their little systems. And the same with the circadian rhythm. Learning day from night, that doesn't happen until after 12 weeks, after that fourth trimester. So there's things we could do to gently help them realize the difference with the scheduling, when we let them have that one long nap when they're allowed to help build up to those things, always in a gentle way.
And you told me this week that there's no spoiling baby in the fourth trimester, which, I realized at that point, my job is to soothe my babies.
Absolutely.
And I appreciated you saying that.
You cannot spoil a newborn. They don't have the ability to manipulate. They just have needs, and the only way they know how to let those needs be known is by crying. So by us responding to our baby's needs, figuring out what those needs are, being there with them, we're building confident, secure babies who have trust. And that's really important. So as they get older and they're able to learn to self-regulate, learn to soothe themselves, we can help them get to that point by taking really good care of them in the beginning.
Great. Any other questions? Burning questions? Okay, so I believe now you guys can grab some snacks, water, go check out the carriers, go look at the products, feel the breastfeeding pillows, and get your hands on some of the great products that Momcozy has right here in the showroom. This is a perfect opportunity to push some of the strollers. And if you guys have any questions, we could answer, Momcozy could answer, we have the baby list registry experts can answer, so ask anybody, and we hope to help you guys pick the best items for your registry. And I hope this was helpful. If you want any of our information, come chat.
Yeah, if anybody has any other questions regarding babies, the postpartum period, fourth trimester, feel free to come and ask me one-on-one.
Thank you so much. Your wealth of knowledge. We're lucky to help you today.
Thank you, and thank you for being here 6 weeks postpartum. It's amazing.
Danny Morin. You can find me on TikTok or Instagram if you type in Danny Morin. And then are you on, do you have a website or?
I do. I have a website. I'm on social media, but not actively. That's not my focus. I'm focused on being in the home, in the trenches with you. But I can share my information.
Okay. Awesome.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I just want to keep this baby now.
I know. That name thing, I'm gonna have to.
It's just cute.
Yeah.
A little icebreaker.
No, I was like, a great video would be showing the stations in the house.
And I'm